We have one more thing to get through. One more thing to get through, and that is Thursday when we may have to deal with some showers, thunderstorms, and some severe weather. And then it's on to the 4th of July holiday weekend, which is looking like a good one. And we will talk all about that, the tropics, and everything else you could think of right here on tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. And you can support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast by shopping our referral link on Amazon. Just do your Amazon shopping via our referral link. You get your stuff, and Amazon throws us back a little bit of coin for sending you there. More importantly, it keeps the live Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast commercial free, which I think most people like. And Tempest by Weatherflow. Get the revolutionary Tempest weather system. Join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link is pinned to the descriptor to this podcast, which you'll find on YouTube right under the title. And use the coupon code SUMMER 2025 because if you do, you will get
5 plus 5 equals, yes, 10. 10% off.
10% off. Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. I got my last flower bed finally finished. I put some petite roses, some petite knockout roses around my big roses that I bought yesterday, including the Julia Child rose, Joe. And that's it. I'm done. I am just out of it. And we had a beautiful day here. Started off, which is a little bit of cloud cover in the morning, but then it went mostly sunny, not a drop of rain, and I'm a happy camper.
Well, basically the same thing here. We started out with some cloud cover this morning, burned it off by midday. The afternoon was bright and sunny. We had a wee bit less in terms of humidity compared to yesterday, and the high temperature, at least here in Putnam Valley, got to 90 degrees. And tomorrow we're going to have to deal with. Now, the interesting thing is, Joe, 2 days ago here in the Northeast, they had the Northeast under, I think, a general thunderstorm outlook for tomorrow. Yesterday it was marginal, and now today, virtually the entire area that was marginal is suddenly turned into a level 2 situation with a slight risk of severe tomorrow. That looks like probably if it does happen, probably it'll be happening like, along about 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the evening tomorrow. Who knows? By the time we get on the air tomorrow night, either we'll be still in it or just out of it. We'll see.
And I still go with the idea with this type of situation. Sometimes these thunderstorms can get on can get pretty nasty. So I'm kind of thinking along those lines that there might be a couple of interesting cells in the mix for tomorrow. And then, of course, Friday is still on course to be a day of low dew points, temperatures in the low to mid 80s, sunshine from start to finish, other than a passing cloud here and there. And the weekend looks good too. It's going to be rain free. I mean, it is going to eventually get more humid by the time we get to Sunday, but uh, if you've got this weekend plan, a 3 day weekend or 4 day, whatever you've got planned here. But it looks good. I mean, no rain in the forecast.
It's kind of an anomaly because when you get to a summer weekend, there's always some kind of disclaimer. Well, if this had
All
not
right.
moved this way, or if that hadn't moved, if we didn't have the front coming in just when it was coming, then we wouldn't have the clouds and the. No, no disclaimers whatsoever. You want sunshine on Friday or Saturday or Sunday, you're going to get it. You want low humidity and pleasant conditions, you're going to get it on Friday.
Yeah.
If you want hotter, more humid weather, sultry conditions, typical summer weather that you would think of when you mention the 4th of July, that's what you're going to get on Sunday. There's something for everyone this weekend. No problems, no rain. Get out and enjoy it.
And no boom booms either.
No boom booms.
Trying to find my mouse. There it is.
It's
Uh, anyway. By the way, that also covers for much of the East Coast and actually all the way back to the Mississippi River. Probably no shower and thunderstorm activity for the next after tomorrow's mess that goes through. Yeah, a lot of folks are going to be enjoying some very nice summery weather over this holiday weekend. Welcome to everybody on the chat board tonight. And for those of you who are lurking in the background, welcome to tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. We are here Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m., but we will be off this Sunday. So after tomorrow, we will not be back until Monday. So subscribe to my YouTube channel, turn your notifications on so you don't miss us. And of course, if you like the show, even just a little bit, hit the like button. By the way, last night, I think it was last night, I watched, I was flipping channels and MeTV had on has been running the Honeymooners. And
Yes,
I think was it the one with Mr. Fabersham and the string of polo ponies,
yes,
Peloponnese?
Peloponnese. Yes. And tonight,
Exactly.
if you're wondering, tonight is unconventional humor. In other words, this is the night. This is the tonight. If you're a Honeymooner fan, you know what I'm talking about. It's the episode where they are headed for the Raccoon Convention in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, and that's when Ralph gets handcuffed to Norton because Norton can't figure out a way to boom their way out. Very, very funny episode.
Yes, it is. All right, let's get started tonight, where we don't have a whole lot going on, and we're just looking at the watches and warnings. Uh, they are few and far between at the moment. We have a couple of counties in southwest Texas with flash flood warnings, a couple of counties in southwest New Mexico and southeast Arizona with flash flood watches, and we have a small area in eastern Montana with heat advisories. Otherwise, it's very, very quiet out there, and we've been used to seeing numerous showers and thunderstorms and a ton of lightning strikes going on over the last pretty much the last week and a half or so. But tonight it's a little different. It's been uh, thundering a good part of the day in eastern North Carolina, and you can see there's still some lightning strikes going on there. Also seeing some lightning strikes into areas inland in South Carolina, and there's a little peppering of thunderstorm activity in Florida, but really not a whole lot happening. Out in the west, looking at some showers and thunderstorms and lightning strikes going on in Arizona, quite a bit there, and a few up in the northern Rockies. But other than that, it's pretty good. It took a little while for all these clouds to get out of the way today for you.
It did take the better part of the morning, but again, by about midday today, things started to brighten. The sun was starting to push forward, and skies gradually cleared. And again, this afternoon was beautiful. Big, puffy cumulus clouds, blue sky, sunshine, and again, temperatures which, at least up here, touched 90 degrees. And again, the humidity not quite as high. The dew point temperatures not quite as high as they were yesterday, and they'll be about the same tomorrow. But again, tomorrow, a different situation. We've got that upper low that's going to be sweeping across the Northeast, and that's going to perhaps induce some potentially nasty weather by mid to late afternoon. We shall see.
We have a little, I just want to highlight, which I did, in the Eastern Gulf and over Florida. There's disturbed weather there that's been there for the last several days, and it's going to continue to be there for the next few days. But the Hurricane Center is indicating a chance that this could develop into something off the southeast coast of the U.S., and we'll get to that again in just a little bit. And radars tonight, not really doing a whole lot in the east. We've got these storms and downpours in coastal North Carolina and back into South Carolina. You can see some of the stronger echoes that are inland, scattered throughout southeast Georgia. And in Florida, we've got patchy areas of showers and storms, more along the lines of heavy rain than severe weather. Some showery rains in Texas, a couple of flash flood warnings in southwest Texas. And again, radar is very busy for Arizona. This is pretty busy stuff where we're seeing showers and storms from southeast Arizona northward up toward Flagstaff and in the northern part of the state. And we're also seeing some showers in California in the Sierra Nevadas. You don't really see that too often this time of year. And there's just a scattering of rain showers and the occasional thunderstorm in Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, and a little busier up in the great state of Montana. where we have a higher severe weather risk tonight, a slight risk for severe weather. There are no severe thunderstorm watches up at the moment, and probably won't be. The small area of slight risk in north central Montana. We have a marginal risk across the Great Lakes back into Minnesota and Iowa, and nothing much other than general thunderstorm activity that is being indicated south of New York City, but it's really much further south than that. It's down into North Carolina, and it's nothing's going to be happening from that respect. So tomorrow, now we have a slight risk for all of New Jersey, eastern Pennsylvania, the Hudson Valley, the Catskills, almost back into south central New York, all of Connecticut, half of Rhode Island, and much of Massachusetts. One of the things about tomorrow, Joe, is the fact that the wind direction may eventually go to the west. Now, I'm not sure about the timing of that, but that might keep the sea breeze at bay. So, one of the things to watch for tomorrow is if there's any kind of marine influence that develops, because if it doesn't, that slight risk will play, and you might see thunderstorms that normally would weaken when they get to the coast not weaken when they get to the coast.
I was surprised at how the sheer size of the slight risk area. I didn't realize that they were going to. I mean, that's a pretty formidable section out of the marginal risk that we had yesterday. And in fact, the marginal risk area expanded from yesterday. So they're getting a little bit more confidence. I think that there will be some severe weather in parts of the Northeast tomorrow with this, again, upper level disturbance.
Yeah, they mentioned that, say in the discussion, a warm, humid air mass will be present ahead of the front, which with steep low-level lapse rates and sufficient cape to pose a risk of damaging wind gusts and perhaps some hail. Given trends in the 12Z model guidance regarding thunderstorm coverage have added a slight risk for portions of the region. And I think that's probably a wise thing to do. Whenever you get these upper lows that drop down like this time of year, they, as I said, they can occasionally produce some nasty thunderstorms. Marginal risk tomorrow, northern Illinois to Wisconsin and southeast Minnesota and eastern Iowa, and a marginal to slight risk over the Dakotas. That's the only spot, by the way, where there's a 2% slightly elevated chance for an isolated tornado. And then on Friday, the 4th of July, no thunderstorms from Maine to northern Virginia, back to Indiana and Illinois, to Missouri, Arkansas, and then kind of nosing down into Alabama, western Alabama and Mississippi. Just a small area of marginal risk from northeast Nebraska to Minnesota and western Wisconsin. So, that's one thing about this time of year when you see a map like this and you see that there's not even general thunderstorms being mentioned anywhere in the Northeast and Northern Mid Atlantic, you can almost assume 99% of the time it's because you've got a really nice dry air mass in play.
Right, and you mentioned about hail with the threat tomorrow, and as I said yesterday, this is a pattern that you more normally would expect to see during the spring, in April, for example, or late March, where you have low top convection. Instead of getting those towering cumulus clouds 50, 60,000 feet or higher, you end up with these 30 or 40,000 foot cumulus clouds, which produce convection, which produce thunder and lightning, but also they can be, as Joe just mentioned, they can be nasty. They're affiliated with the big difference between unseasonably cool pool of air high aloft and much warmer and also somewhat more humid conditions down near the surface. And that mixing could lead to, again, what some forecasters sometimes in such situations, they refer to them as the thunderstorm cells as hailers, the kind that produce pea-sized hail or maybe sometimes dime-sized hail. So you can get that kind of situation out of this setup tomorrow. And I should stress, it does not look like it's going to be widespread. Does not look like any kind of, major squall line, but you're going to get these little clusters here and there of thunderstorm activity. And again, any one singular cell, if it passes over your house, things can get rather nasty for about 5 or 10 minutes. So keep your eye on the sky beginning about mid afternoon tomorrow and on into tomorrow evening for the threat of possible strong to severe weather.
You have WPC showing mostly half an inch amounts in this area from northeast PA up into Massachusetts, and that's probably due to what's happening tomorrow. Otherwise, much of the east, except for the coastal areas in the Carolinas down to Georgia, uh, generally a quarter of an inch or less over the next 7 days. Bigger amounts, though, over Florida because of that disturbed weather. And you can see just offshore of the Carolinas, you're seeing some heavy precip indicated. And for Florida, areas, it's about the west coast of Florida, showing areas of 3 to 5 inches. And sometimes with these tropical systems, when they hang around, it could be a lot more than that. The western lakes back to the northern plains and the central plains, and even the southern plains, areas of a half to 3 quarters, and some areas in the purple, an inch and a half plus, especially in the northern half of Minnesota, northeastern North Dakota, and then on the Canada side, we're seeing ample amounts of precip there. In the northern Rockies, half to 3 quarters for the most part. Uh, in the southwest, it's a quarter to a half in most places, and California, not so much. Oregon, not so much, and Washington, hardly anything at all. So, just to take a look at this, here's the short wave. That's swinging down. There's an upper low that's closing off near James Bay that's dropping almost straight south into Maine. And it's a little, these runs have been a little further east with this, which is actually good because you don't want the trough to hang around. You want it to keep moving, but you're going to get that short wave that's going to be swinging through the trough, swinging through during Thursday, and that very that blue indicating colder air aloft. So it's not a surprise that you're going to probably see some thunderstorms with a very unstable atmosphere like this. And then we've got this northerly flow on Friday coming out of eastern Canada that's going to bring down this dry air, cooler air. The trough eventually pulls out over the weekend, so we turn very warm and humid or downright hot in some places. But we don't have a big ridge building in the eastern states. A little ridging there, but it's not like we have a closed upper high or anything like that. And then over time next week, we're kind of on the edge of the northwest flow. Gradually, as we go through the week, the upper air cools in the east later in the week and into next weekend, and you start to see uh, maybe a ridge building at the end of the forecast period in the Ohio Valley down into the Gulf states. But that's a long ways off. That's in the middle of the month of January if we get there. And as far as what's off the southeast coast, there's a little bit of an upper feature here. Whoops, that wasn't supposed to happen. My mistake. Uh, just a second. I don't know how that came up. I must have accidentally hit an ad in Tropical Tidbits. But there is a little bit of an upper feature there. And eventually, the European does try to form a surface low as early as Saturday off the northeast coast of Florida. And you see it there. There's a closed isobar, and eventually it tightens that low up a bit and then ejects it out to the northeast, or at least it did on there it goes. By the time we get to Tuesday, it forms a low off the mid-Atlantic coast and then takes it on out and deepens it a little bit to the northeast. So maybe there'll be a minor tropical storm that comes out of this, but uh, most of the rain that's going on is because of what's happening at the moment with this lingering upper trough that's overhead. If something does come out of this, it looks like it'll just get ejected out to the northeast anyway. Meanwhile, you've got the system for tomorrow. The front plays through. You can see patchy areas of showers and storms on the European into the afternoon. And then, of course, it all goes goodbye at night. We get to the dry air, and the 4th of July looking good east of the Mississippi River. Storms in the plains, storms up in the Rockies, and maybe some severe weather risk Friday up in the Dakotas and Minnesota. But that doesn't get to the east at all. On Monday, we got this sort of front to the northwest that settles near the coast, and maybe we get some storms from this on Tuesday of next week. So Monday might not be too bad on the hot side, on the humid side, but any thunderstorms will be well north. And then moving along, still trying to show something maybe for the end of next week that drops down into the mid-Atlantic states in the southeast and goes out. I mean, this is just sort of typical July stuff. There's not really a whole lot here that we have to worry about over the next 10 days or so, other than tomorrow.
And that system that you were talking about that may kick off the mid-Atlantic coast the start of next week and might end up becoming a tropical storm if everything falls into place. That would be the sea storm, and that would be Chantel, if it
Chantal.
indeed does, if it does
Yes.
indeed form.
Yes. The Hurricane Center is highlighting this in this fabulous orange color that you see here, an area of low pressure. This is the 8 o'clock, which they issued at 7:30. This is the 8 o'clock tropical weather outlook. An area of low pressure could develop along the weakening frontal boundary near Florida or the Atlantic coast of the southeast U.S. by the weekend. Environmental conditions appear only marginally conducive for some slow development, but a tropical or subtropical depression could form over the weekend or early next week as the system drifts north or northeast. Regardless of development, heavy rainfall is possible over portions of the southeast U.S., mainly near the coast, particularly across the west central Florida coast. So there you have it. They have a 0% chance of this developing in the next 48 hours and a 40% chance in the next 7 days. And in the Pacific, we have Hurricane Flossie. Maximum winds are now down to 100 miles an hour. It's south of the south coast of the Baja Peninsula and moving northwest at 8 or 9 knots parallel to the coast. Probably some moisture will get in there. And there's a disturbance behind it in the, I always love this, the Gulf of Tewanapek. You know, uh, the disturbance is there, and conditions appear conducive for gradual development. 70% probability over the next 7 days that this could be formed into a tropical depression or a tropical storm. And in the central Pacific, nothing, nothing. And I don't believe that they had a storm that formed in the central Pacific last year. I don't remember about the year before, but they can go several years sometimes without seeing a hurricane form in that basin.
Well, again, you have to have very special conditions. The waters around the Hawaiian Islands are relatively cool, which is why usually when you get even a Category 4 storm, let's say off of Baja, and it's chucking along to the west in the direction of the Hawaiian Islands, the folks on the islands usually are not too concerned because once it arrives within, let's say, several hundred miles of the Hawaiian Islands, that cool water usually knocks down the strength of such major storms. By the time they reach the islands, it's usually nothing more than just a big mass of clouds and scattered showers. You literally would have to have something forming in the Central Pacific, let's say, almost like due south or in the general vicinity of the Hawaiian Islands for it to become meaningful for the folks on the islands to become concerned. And of course, they've had some major storms over the years. In fact, if anything, Joe, a couple of years ago when they had the drought situation, they did have, I forgot the name of it, there was a major tropical cyclone passing by, and the combination of the dry weather plus the very strong winds helped to ignite brush fires on
Oh
the
yeah,
island of Maui.
was
Yeah,
it
so
was it Dora?
I, I'm not sure. I don't want to say yes or no, but it was one of those unusual cases where it was an indirect cause due to a tropical system that caused, and it wasn't due to flooding or due to major erosion or anything like. It was due to a major storm, a major tropical system causing strong gusty winds in conjunction with the very dry air, which set the stage for a rapid spread of fire across, again, mostly the island of Maui, and that was just a horrible situation for those poor folks.
Yeah, I'm trying to find. Um, I was trying to find where the maps are. Oh, the archives. That would make sense. Um, East Pacific Current. season summary. I don't want the current one. I want the past. So I was trying to pull up maybe to take a look and see if we could figure out which storm it actually was, but I'm not finding it right now. Let me try one more thing, because now you got me curious. Let's see. Uh, let's see. A list of Hawaii hurricanes. Blah 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 blah. Um, no, there's not. It's gonna take me a while here. I was just hoping maybe I could surround a. Let's see. A look back at storms that have impacted Hawaii. Maybe that'll have a mention to it.
Here's one, Dora. I think that was it.
Dora was. I remember Dora passed way south, and it was like a Cat 5.
But there was one that passed close by previous to Dora. That was Calvin. Formed off the coast of southern Mexico on July 7th, became better organized, um, developed into a well defined center, Tropical Depression 3E on July the 11th. That might have, yeah,
Yeah.
all state parks on the big island of Hawaii, as well as most of Hawaii's Volcano National Park, shut beginning the afternoon of July 18th. Public schools were closed for the whole of the 19th of July. This was due to Calvin, not due to Dora. It was a
Okay.
pretty active. 2023 was a pretty active period of tropical activity for Hawaii
Yeah.
between Calvin.
I don't remember. I just don't remember. Rich Rothmansky says Hone or Gilma. I don't know. Not sure. You know what? This is the sort of thing that I need to look up when we're not on the air, so I can dig around. Once upon a time, I had a memory where I could remember all these things instantly, and that time has passed. I have trouble completing sentences now.
You'll have to take you'll have to take Prevagen.
Prevagen, if I could remember it.
Yeah.
All right, the chairman, Scott Briller, is away on a vacation and enjoying the South Jersey shore. So he won't be back till next week sometime. So in the meantime, we're done.
You mean with Jeopardy lists tonight?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
I think. I'm pretty sure. Let me
All
just
right.
double check, in case I missed it. Um, oh, wait. I do have something.
You do have something.
Yes, I do have something. I'm sorry. So this will be the last one. Okay. Sorry about that. But Scott is going on vacation, but I saw the bottom of his message that says he's going to Wildwood for the weekend. So
Well, Scott Briller on the chat board says no. Joe C has it,
I got it. I got it.
and
I
you
got
got
it.
it. You
Okay.
got it.
I got it. I got it. All right. Here we go. What was the highest temperature ever in the month of July in New York City at the park?
Well, that would be what, July 9th, 1936?
That is
106?
that is correct. Ring the bell for
Oh,
yourself.
okay. All right. Ding, 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 ding.
Okay.
What major event happened the next day?
I don't know. What major event did happen the next day?
They opened the Triborough Bridge.
Oh, okay. What was the coldest temperature in July?
The coldest temperature in July. I would say at Central Park now.
Yes.
Ugh.
Craig
I'm
Carlberg
tempted
is
to,
very close with 51.
I was tempted to say 49 just for the sake of saying 49 or
No,
something in the
Chuck
40s.
Cardillo's on the other end of it with 53, which means
52?
52, and it was on July 1st, 1943. What was the coldest daytime maximum temperature?
Oh, oofa. 60?
Very close. Very close, Joe. I mean, the thing is, if you get this kind of temperature in July, you're liable to put on a coat. Christinapedia gets it with 61.
Wow.
61, and that was in July on July 5th, 1956. 1956.
Oh,
All right, the most rain ever to fall in the month of July.
this the least amount or the
The
most amount?
most rain.
I'll bet you it was something relatively recent because of some kind of
No,
deluge or whatever,
no,
which some politician probably blamed on the
no,
weather forecast.
no. August,
No?
yes. July, no. Not this record amount anyway.
Okay. I um, I'll say 10 inches.
That is a significant amount, but not significant enough. Rich Rockmansky, you practically hit it on the nose by putting 12 inches. It was 11.89, and that was way back in 1889.
Wow.
And the final question tonight, the most 90-degree days in the month of July.
I'm going to say I remember this so well, like it was just a couple of years ago. 1999 was a brutally hot month of July. I'm going to say 1999.
No, that's not the right year. And how many days?
It was the right year.
No, it's not the right year.
It wasn't the right year.
No. And how many
Oh,
days but how many days did it go to 90? What's the number?
I would say I don't know, 21.
That's very, very close. Mark D42 was very close with 21, but Maggie P got it with 20. And that was in 1993.
Oh, wow.
Right decade, just the wrong year in that decade. Uh,
93, 1993, and I believe 1991 are tied with the most number of 90-degree days in a year at 39.
yeah. You don't want that again.
No,
You
I
don't
do
want
not.
you don't want that again. All right, now we can say goodbye. So Scott can go have a great vacation, and for everybody else, well, we'll see you tomorrow night at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll see what these thunderstorms do, and then we can move onward and upward to a beautiful 4th of July and a lovely 4th of July holiday weekend. So everybody have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye bye, folks.